Red Bobble something.
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
Can you hear us now, Todd?
Yeah, now I have you.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
At emergency management used to take care of it, that he has not answered his phone. I have called him repeatedly at the emergency number with no phone. This needs to be taken care of immediately.
Which person are you trying to reach?
I tried to reach you today, Todd, but you weren't in the office. I'm trying to reach the person in charge of emergency management now about opening the buildings for hot weather and the bad weather that we have. We had a terrible storm move
Yeah.
through,
I know.
terrible. And we've
Yes, I
had
know.
hot weather that people can't even bear. There
Right.
was nothing open. Oh, yeah, I've heard people say, well, yeah, the community center was, the Woodman Center, well, it closes at 4 or 4:30. Same way with the public library here. That's not the buildings that used to be open. It was opened by emergency management. That's
Agree.
what has to stop. It has to stop. That is government ordered.
So which person are you trying to reach to address this? I'll see if I
John
can help.
Hyman,
Okay. Okay. Let me, I'll see if I can help with that. While I was sitting here and I couldn't hear anybody, I called Brian McGraw and just found out that he resigned.
that's right. That's what we were just told.
Yeah.
You know who you're talking to, don't you, Todd?
Say that again.
You know who you're talking to, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Everybody does. It's the voice.
Yeah, no, I know who you are. I didn't even know Brian had resigned till 5 minutes ago. So, okay.
Any other public
So
comment?
the thing being, if John had resigned too or left the office because he's not there, this needs to be attended to, and it needs to be attended to now. I was also advised by someone who I'm not going to name that I should call the regional manager of emergency management, who used to be our ambulance director.
Oh, okay.
It's a state ordered thing, people. This is dangerous. If
I,
you're in trouble,
okay.
Don, I have a question.
Okay,
Is it official what happened to the press director?
to the current director?
I mean, I've heard it by way of rumor, but I don't know.
I know Mike is no longer with Richland County.
I'm not sure the mayor knows that.
I do. Mike called me himself Friday night
Okay.
and he told me that. And that's as much as I know about it. And then Brian just told me he resigned, which I hadn't heard till now.
I assume it's a personnel issue of some sort, and I'm
well-
not privy to that.
That wasn't about a reason. I just wanted an official, maybe that it was something that happened rather than. It is official. She just wants.
Yes.
Official.
Yes.
Mike told me that the county administrator terminated his employment on Friday. And I don't have a lot of detail, but that's what he told me himself.
Okay. At this point, I don't think there's any further comment on that. Next on the agenda is the EMT delegation. Okay. Is that just for commentary or?
I have no idea what that means.
well,
You
you
guys
guys
can
don't
speak now. Oh, it's us to speak?
Yeah, EMT delegation, isn't that you?
If somebody else-
Service or anything that's coming up that you'd like to see the direction of the ambulance go to, or
Yes.
what's pertaining?
I will just reiterate what was spoken to at the meeting prior to this, that in regards to Friday's actions, the loss of advocacy for EMS services and the community it's a detriment to the community. We ask that also moving forward, any procedures put in place to leadership into position that EMS crew members have input and say in that. And then lastly, we had asked that that in general, that those that oversee us understand that we are licensed medical professionals and we deserve more of the respect that we have received. And that, you know, we receive more respect from members in the community than we do from those that oversee us. And so that will be our heartfelt, you know, request to all of you, is that a little bit more respect, a little bit more kindness, a little bit more consideration. That is all.
Thank you. Director's report tonight is, we have a new face for that one. Derek? Derek Goblin is currently holding down the fort.
So Derek will maintain, I'll jump in here a little bit. Derek will maintain his current role. The Executive and Finance Committee did appoint me as Service Director until we can contract with somebody to take on that role.
Okay,
Yes.
because we weren't at that meeting. so
Yes, so.
We just heard the
I'll
little tail end of it.
Yes, but I will have Derek give an update as far as numbers and ongoing day-to-day things that are happening.
Just the two things in here, call data, I believe it was attached to the paper where it wasn't, okay, but,
That's fine.
I just got the sheet here. Total calls currently we're at 716. On the sheet that was, at least in the folder, it has June at 52 calls, but we're currently around 80 or 90 total for the month, with a few days left. The financial updates, I don't have on me, it's a short notice, and we'll cover it on the next one.
That's another reason for us to have a meeting the last Monday, the fourth Monday in July.
We need a meeting next week. We've gone 4 months without any financial reports.
Well, we'll do a meeting in a month, and then by then, a lot of this will have settled out, and there'll be time to get stuff
Organize.
together.
Get organized again.
Yeah, to get reorganized.
Can we get some information, paper copies of each month, you know, all that kind of stuff?
Has the billing been coming through better now?
We finally got it all resolved today, so we should be able to get all of that, all those journal entries done.
Because that's always been such an issue for, what, 2 years now?
Well, we went to a different company to do it,
Twice.
and we signed on with them to do some other advantages that they were giving us. A bill of goods that they sold us, that some of the reports are gonna be easier to put in and stuff. So did that happen?
Yes.
Sorry, I've been out since November. I haven't. been
So-
around.
Yeah, so we've been having some communications between Mike, Tammy at, in my office, and the company have been trying to work together to make sure that we're getting the correct data.
Because just a heads up, contracts are up in June. Like we sign on with the ambulance,
Oh, the MOU?
Yes, at the end of this year.
and it is here, well, I'm already, just to give a heads up, I've already contacted another ambulance service, you know, if things don't start shaping up, and I know I'm speaking out, and I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody, but I might sign on for another ambulance, and then
Well,
you'll
that's
take on others.
your town's prerogative. That is
I'm
your-
saying this to all the people sitting in this room, that we've been battling this ongoing issues, and I know you didn't want to hear it. We've been battling these issues for 10 years. So Tricia, if you ever have some time, I'd like to sit with you and talk. Because we'll do one-on-one,
Something.
yes,
Yep,
yes.
schedule something after the meeting.
So going forward,
So we have going.
we have a lot of issues, but yes.
Yeah.
But the billing's a big one, because the last I heard, we were $300,000 in debt. It could be rumor, it could be not, but we're going the wrong direction. We gotta go the right direction, because we have bills to pay. We have an ambulance to actually, and I brought up to Michael, there's an ambulance in Viola, very well taken care of. I said, please look into it. Cause they're getting a brand spanking new one. Huh? Oh, you guys knew, oh, okay.
I didn't say that, I said that, I'm not with them anymore.
Yeah, you know.
Back in the day, 34 years.
Anyway, this one is a good ambulance. So this might be something that we need to be looking into. I know they're very expensive. It's something this committee should look into and say,
I
hey,
know our last used one was kind of a.
money pit. What's a money pit?
Yeah. Still is.
Right,
Yeah.
but this one in Viola, we
Yeah.
know these people. They wouldn't like.
It would,
team up
it would
for
be
it.
nice to,
That's not on the agenda.
No.
it's not on the agenda.
So let's put it on for
We
July.
need to move on.
Yeah.
Possible discussion and possible action, return to quarterly JAC meetings. But we will do one in July, which is because we have to. You have to catch up on what's been going on.
Yep.
But then we'll go to the August and then the November meeting. And if we have to call a special one some other time, we will. That was the way the committee was set up.
Originally, yes, when things were going smooth. I know, I'm very outspoken tonight, I'm sorry.
So.
What's that?
If you would change the meeting dates.
Well, when in July do you want to have that one in July?
I just do that meeting it.
July 28th.
July 28th, yeah.
Set the,
It's already been decided.
Yep.
Of course.
July 28th is our.
28/7, same location.
I'll be back in time.
And since we skipped a few things, ambulance maintenance update.
So again, that's something that the packet was never sent to our IT department to upload. And it was only through April, the information. So there were some invoices in there, so we can bring that next month to show all of the maintenance that have been provided on the ambulance.
Okay.
So that brought us right down to the end of the agenda.
question.
Sure.
When we met with the executive and finance committee, they basically told us that the JAC, the way it's been the last 10 years, is not going to exist at the end of this year. And we need to come up with a new memorandum of understanding. So, when are we going to do that? We can't keep putting it off.
We'd have to do that before the end of the year anyways.
Well,
I mean, it's gonna take more than one of
And
these meetings.
we are,
to decide that.
the county will.
The county will do what?
Yeah, you.
and that's if we come to you and state our issues.
Our attorney will be drafting a new one. That was the way it was left after the executive and finance committee. Correct me if I'm wrong. Trish.
Right, and municipalities can sign on and say yep, or they can sign off and say no, and like you said, explore other options.
Right.
Well,
And I think after we talk and with the county, because we can actually go to the county board and actually state, we're not just an advisory. We were a key issue to the ambulance.
No.
You can sit there and say no all you want, but that's not how it was. So,
No, we heard this all back when you were missing. I mean, Gordy can probably fill you in. It was explained very well.
I know it was explained very, I did read it. But we also have the option to come to the county and actually disclose what our initiative is. And they could actually go then and decide one way or another.
Yeah, you'd have- my guess is you'd have to take it to your town and let them decide.
well,
You're missing the point there. Anyway, yes.
speaking to the municipalities that were part of the JAC last 10 years, don't you think that we need to get together sometime, those original municipalities, and decide what we're going to do? If we're going to do something as a group, or if we're all going to go our own separate ways? I mean, we got to meet sometime.
That's a good question, but once the county has come up with an MOU and revise whatever the costs are coming up. Because that'll be figured in on that too, I would imagine. Because costs aren't gonna be the same as they were on the last MOU. Because things are just a lot higher.
We totally understand that. That's not where we're getting on that. It's the same.
We won't get to change.
No, it'd be nice if the original JAC could sit down and we can come towards the county board and actually, in a respectful way, and state what the group was.
What we
Because
want.
until a year and a half ago,
Yeah, we
things
need
were
a-
going fine.
The
Until
committee
everything,
is an advisory, it's not really a supervisory. If I'm getting that right?
Can I ask a question there? I understand there are two types of committees under the county board. I know there are committees and they make decisions, but there's two categories. I don't know the names.
Standing committees and
Advisories.
yeah, and they're standing, that's when they said we could come to the county board and state that as a standing, and not an advisory. That hasn't been relinquished
Could
yet.
we request that, I guess is what? Could, to the county board and it seemed like we worked
They bring
well.
it to the executive one?
To executive.
Yeah, I think it's been brought to executive and voted down, but we'll have to check the minutes, but that would be, put it on your agenda for July.
Yep.
We'll check into it to make sure, because I do remember that you guys were allowed, I think that was
We weren't
what
allowed
Mr.
to.
Windle, if I remember right.
we
said.
can request.
Last an agenda item.
I
Oh,
think
we
it's
got time now.
fair for the township to have a say somehow in what's going on because they pay.
Yeah, and that's what the meeting of the quarterly meeting of the advisory. Give you,
Right. I think this should be on our agenda for next, end of July. We're gonna discuss this in further. And if we have to go as an advisory or the other,
I guess if we go as an advisory, what good does it do if we don't have any say? I mean, we can advise, but then that,
well, it's like our EMTs, so they would like a little say in the personnel that gets hired on. And that's, I'm going back just a year and a half, not 10 years. Year and a half ago, if someone was gonna be hired, it went through the EMTs, they gave their input on this person.
No, we never had input on it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, that makes two.
yeah.
Well,
How many people in here have ever been able to pick their boss? Raise your hand. One person.
No.
Been able to pick your boss.
The JAC was able to get
Yeah.
it on us.
That all changed with the administrator form of government.
But
We have told
is,
you all.
is an MOU a binding legal contract?
I'm not gonna get into it, so
Well, get
decide on
into
your
it.
next meeting.
Is that a
It is
contract?
not on the-
we're gonna put it on the
Right,
agenda
and I know you guys would say that,
For
it's
July.
not on the agenda.
That's-
If we have to put it on, you guys wouldn't have
Yes.
put it on anyway.
So we will add to the next meeting
Yes.
discussion on the JAC structure.
Correct.
We will have that as an agenda item for you guys to talk about.
No, well,
We have a MOU till the end of 2025. People, time's running out. We can't wait till December to decide what's gonna happen. We gotta be discussing this stuff now.
So I
And I don't like the thought of waiting one more month till we come in and discuss.
Well, we can't talk, there's nothing to talk about right now on that
Right.
subject.
But
Nothing.
something on the agenda. We were told in one meeting, if one of the group here doesn't want it on the agenda, they'll take it off if we're not allowed to have it.
What did you say? Repeat
That's
that.
when Mike Wendell, the lawyer, was here. If he didn't want it on our agenda, it wasn't going on. We got our hands tied a lot the last year and a half. So I'm just saying,
back in May.
I just want to make sure it's on the agenda.
I have that noted.
Got it.
I'll check with
You
her.
got that, and what were the other agenda items for next month?
Oh, the meeting date.
She's gonna get you the minutes,
Yep.
Right.
And the reports.
financial report.
And the ambulance maintenance.
Yep,
All data.
all data.
Yeah. all they did.
Um,
And
well, what
I
about
don't know if we'll be ready to revisit the other items we dropped off or not.
is our third ambulance down in?
Say that again?
Is our third ambulance down, is it up and running, all three? Okay.
I mean, it's not at Philmax?
Nope.
Shh, quiet. We'll be there before you go.
Can I add something?
Yep.
Okay, if you recall, in a meeting Mr. Windle was attending, and is basically the same conversation was taking place. And I asked him to interject and tell us how to make sure something we wanted was on the next agenda. And he instructed us to do that. If there's something you want on the next agenda, someone makes a motion to place it on the agenda. If there's a motion in a second and the committee votes that in, they cannot remove it from the agenda. That was the advice Michael gave the whole room. So if there's something you guys want on the agenda, that's what he told us to do.
Not in our JC meeting, did he ever state that?
Okay, and just to add to the
I
frustrations
don't
I'm hearing,
on the agenda, I make that motion, those be added on to
One
the.
at a time, please.
Go ahead, Todd.
if you just made a motion, I'll wait till that's done.
I did.
And your motion was what?
So the items that we had put on for the agenda for the next meeting, I don't have those put on.
Okay.
I listed all there. Tricia does.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Can you tell me your name?
Mary.
Todd, did you hear the agenda item?
I did.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and then if I could, just a comment. A couple of you have said this. I'm agreeing with everyone who did and trying to, I guess, give advice to anyone who didn't comment yet. But we've got the city and every township, every municipality that's utilizing this service. It is, we're coming up on July. And all of us, when we go forward and do our next year's budget and all the things we have to do, we have to provide an account for an ambulance service. And there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, I'm calling into a meeting and I'm being told by the last chair that he just quit. And I didn't even know that. And there's a lot of other things I could say that I'm going to hold for some private conversations out of respect for the people I'm going to call, just to not start more trouble. The city and every township has a critical responsibility to make sure you know what you're doing when it comes to providing ambulance service. And I hear some of you going, well, I might look at somebody else or this or that. To Gordon's point, yeah, we need to meet. And yeah, we need to talk this through because there's way too much going on here. And I don't think anybody listening to me can disagree with what I just said. There's a lot of stuff going on here that is just not where it needs to be. And I'm not pointing a finger at any individual, but I'm not going to deny the obvious either. And I will be talking to the county administrator without question. I will be talking to the county board chair without question. And several of you, and I'm not angry at any individual. I'm not. I just need to know on behalf of the people I represent where this thing's going to go. And sitting here saying, we don't know, let's meet again is not the way to do this. We've got to get answers and we've got to get solutions. This is the ambulance service. It's a critical function. When I'm being told that the new parts of that ambulance building are trying to fall off the original structure, when I'm being told there were times when the garage doors wouldn't even go up to let an ambulance out of the building, this is beyond concerning. And I need to talk to some of you about what's going on, because there's obviously things I don't even know, and what we need to do. And I'm not comfortable sitting here saying, I'll see you in a month. And I don't really, that's all I'm going to say right now, but I couldn't be less satisfied with what's going on than I am right now.
I agree with everything you said.
Thanks, Todd.
Yep. And again, I'm not aiming that at any individual. I promise I'm not. I'm just saying, as a group, we got to get better answers than what we have right now. And it's a giant responsibility that we've all got to get our hands on right now.
I know I'm not going to be very positive.
Do you suppose we should call a special meeting?
Well, that's what July 28th, to get all our pieces.
But I need that once a month.
Is it possible
What's happening in the meantime? We didn't even know this was happening.
Proposal.
I know
Any idea on how long for the MOU? Is he working on it? Yeah. Mike will be back tomorrow.
Light a fire under them, because that's gonna cause every township and every city and everybody else budgeting issues. Because we know it's not gonna be the same dollars last time.
How much money did the townships contribute to Richland County to that service? Around 150,000?
Yes.
Around
150.
150,000 townships contributed to Richland
Most
County?
of it comes out of the city.
Yes, I get that,
Each
but I'm just,
township has their own responsibility.
so now the county was thinking maybe not using that 150,000 and just providing it out of general levy.
So
I
Carrie,
don't
this
know.
question again, how much does each township and each village pay
I don't
for
know.
ambulance?
I don't know what that is.
Ask them.
It's on your population.
Depends on your call
On
volume.
the
It's
number.
on your call.
Your
Well,
call volume.
which
How
is,
much did you pay
It
last
was
year?
$170 per call based on your last 3 years average. And I know Richland Township, we paid 9,600. The city paid over 80 or 90,000. The city pays a ton of money to it.
and Boaz didn't pay anything, and which isn't right.
Correct.
I'm just, look at it.
Yeah,
I-
stop.
I'm listening.
But it,
None of this is on the agenda.
no,
so
we already adjourned our meeting.
No, wait.
I'm sorry.
I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Let's adjourn it, then we can discuss. Bring up.
What?
What? Can I ask a question before we?
I'd like to ask a question.
One more question. Oh,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
So Trish is our new director, and you said it's gonna be contracted out?
Yes.
What's the plan? What's the timeframe? Do we know any, I mean, what are we doing?
I have made a couple of phone calls and I have things in the works.
Okay.
So, and that's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you right at this point in time.
This is too hard to find a
But you
replacement.
guys
Just
know,
like that.
do you know that this is an A service? And if there's not an A available to get on that ambulance, we don't go. I say we because it's not gonna go.
Yep.
The basics cannot do that.
Yep.
And you're not always guaranteed that you're gonna have an A on there because they don't work all the time. They have other jobs. This is serious,
It's
people.
very scary.
Very
for
scary.
Especially the rural people, because we need to.
That's
know
absolutely the
what's
last question. Then we'll go to-
My question is, heard rumors, we haven't had any financial reports since January. I know we're way in the hole. Who is paying the salaries right now? Who is paying these bills?
Not on the agenda, but I think it's.
But I know you would say that.
We put it on next month's agenda. If you oppose your meeting, you're gonna have.
I need a motion to you.
I'll second.
You'll second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Hey,
Thank you.
I did.
Now there can be discussion.
but
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda,
Because
we cannot do it, it's against the law.
So,
Open meeting law.
Yes. Open meetings law.
well, I think the call.
She's on it.
But I'm not.
So the
They're
next
getting-
meeting.
And on the agenda. We could try that. I hope, because you got.
Well, I do too.
Tricia?
Yeah. About at least 6 months. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you to anybody that wants to call and talk to me. You have my number. Thanks, everybody.
I know where you work.
You do. Yes.